Hi everyone, my name is Chizo, and today I'll be sharing with you a guide to playing Helena Richese. So most people on the forum call her Helena, and a lot of people like to pick her in 4th position just because she cannot be blocked. But is that the best way to play Helena? So let's get into the guide. So I'll be covering a few things. First of all, I'll be covering when to pick Helena, the earlier objectives of Helena, and how to get to high persuasion with Helena. So when do you pick Helena? You pick Helena when there are some good 6 or 7 costed cards in the Imperium row. I've listed out those which I think are important here. The ones that are most powerful I think are Gurney, Lady Jessica, and Shire Halud, for the reasons that they draw or trash, which accelerate Helena's power curve. So why 6 or 7 costed cards, you might ask? 6 or 7 persuasion is an amount that you can reliably hit round 1 or round 2 with Helena. In situations you do not draw your ring, 6 or 7 is also a relatively hard number to reach by other players. So if in case that you do not draw your ring, you can still acquire the card round 2 using your ring. 6 or 7 also is a power level of card which I think is able to carry you to a victory. So, early game objectives. The early game objectives for Helena is to buy a high costed persuasion cards in round 1 or 2. Why is Helena's objective to buy a high cost persuasion card? That's due to the power of her ring, and enabled by her passive as well, because she's not blocked on spaces like Tech Negotiator or Arakin. So what does her signet ring do? Her signet ring allows her to manipulate the Imperium row, so she can remove and replace a card in the Imperium row, and during your reveal turn this round, you may acquire the remove card for 1 less. What that means is that you'll pick a card, the card will cost 1 less and no one else can buy it. You in sense reserve it. You can send your ring to Tech Negotiator, and your ring will act as a 2 persuasion card on reveal. 1 from Tech Negotiator and 1 from the discount. So all these benefits allow her to purchase very high costed cards that no one else is really able to get. So why rounds 1 and 2? Assuming you buy the cards rounds 1 and 2, the yellow and orange cards, you will start to see them multiple times throughout the game. And here's an example of how it goes round 1 to round 7, assuming you don't draw extra cards. So if you buy a card round 1, you expect to see it around 3 times. 3 or less actually. And if you buy a card round 2, you also expect to see it 3 times or less. However, if you buy a card round 3 or round 4, you only expect to see it once or twice. As such, because these cards are so powerful, the best time to buy them is early, so that you compound the effect and compound the advantage you get from playing it more and more. Do note that when you draw cards, you greatly increase the power of the cards that you have bought, because when you draw more cards, you'll see the cards more often, and then you can play the cards more often. As such, cards that draw naturally, cards like Gurney Halleck and Lady Jessica, are exceptionally powerful in high power decks. So if your deck has a card like Gurney or Lady Jessica, you expect to see it more than 3 times, because you are drawing more and cycling through your deck quicker. So how do we buy these cards? And how do we get to high persuasion? So for this guide, we'll be talking about how to get to 6 persuasion. How to get one of these 6 costed cards, which will win you the game. This guide is also applicable to 7 costed cards. Just take the same approach or the same strategy and apply it to 7 persuasion. So I'll run through different scenarios. So situation 1 is when you have your ring and you have a natural 4 or 5 persuasion. In this case, what you should be doing is you'll be using your ring to go to Arakin. This will draw a card, and with the drawn card, you'll be able to count how much persuasion you are at. If you are at 4 persuasion still, you can send a dagger to Tech Negotiator. and then get your last persuasion required to buy your 6 costed card. And if you're at your 5 persuasion already, you can always play your best card to any space on the board. So one thing about going to Arakin round 1 is that it forces a reshuffle on round 2, because your deck will have 4 cards remaining. That implies that the card that you bought round 1, you would see anywhere between rounds 2 to rounds 3. Situation 2. You have Sea Allies, a dagger, and a ring. In this scenario, you could always send your ring to Arakin and try to do the similar case as the previous. However, what else you can do is you can always send your Sea Allies to go to Wealth. You can dagger to Mentat, and then if you're at 4 persuasion, you can use your ring to go to Tech Negotiator, or at 3 persuasion, you can try to go to Arakin and try to get lucky by drawing a convincing to carry you to 6 persuasion. In situations you have low persuasion, what you should be doing is still to go to Arakin with your signet ring. There are cases where you will draw your convincing argument, similar to the case before. And in such cases, you can always use your dagger to go to Tech Negotiator to get your 5th persuasion. Or if you're at 3 persuasion, what you do is you just select the best card available that you can buy. This is not the most ideal scenario, but it's what you have to make do with. So which card is the best? I have some guides with talking about the 4 and 5 costed cards. Do look through them and remember the S tier cards and maybe the A tier cards as well. Those cards are the cards that you should be looking for, that you should be falling back upon in these situations. Finally, situation 4, that you did not draw your signet ring round 1. So this happens fairly often, 50% of the time. So how you should approach these hands is you should be thinking about your persuasion count for both hands. So let's say in my hand on my left, I have 6 persuasion if I send my dagger to Tech Negotiation. And because I have 6 persuasion already, I can always just play Sea Allies wherever I want, play my dagger to Tech Negotiation. With 6 persuasion, I can already buy the card that I want. Assuming I do not have 6 persuasion early, what happens is that on my second round, I'll be able to get 6 persuasion. Okay, so I will be able to send my ring to Tech Negotiator, get to 6 persuasion, and buy the card. One thing to note is that if you are using your signet ring on the second round to buy a card, one thing to note if you're using your signet ring to buy a card on the second round, you do not want to send your signet ring to Arakin, because that causes a reshuffle to happen, and you'll see the card that you bought even later into the game. Instead of round 3, you'll only be able to see it round 4 or round 5. So actually that's the entire guide of how to play Helena Richese. The rest of the game plays out very standard. You have advantage of not being blocked at Swordmaster and not being able to be blocked at Research Station. You'll want to play your powerful card as many times as possible, so do look to draw as much as possible, but play the game optimally. So the reason I like to play Helena is that Helena allows you to play very powerful cards, and if you find playing very powerful cards fun, do use the strategies that I have provided, purchase the cards, and have fun just slamming Lady Jessica and Gurney Halleck on the table multiple times throughout the game. Happy tuning!